but I'm gonna go. The generation Cowboys and sports talk. My dad, my partner, my co-host, CowboyJoe 64.
I am your father.
Just to get the Cowboys 2 good games to hopefully understand that they need to go receiver and go high with this next pick.
Yeah, that's really what this is gonna be about. All right. Welcome everyone. Let me change that. Welcome everyone. You're looking live at Generation to Generation Cowboys and Sports Talks. I'm the host, DJ Itelluwhat, and I'm joined with my dad, my co-host. And you want to say what's up to the people?
What's up to the people? Kind of getting back in the groove. Got a new computer set up, so it should be a much better presentation from my side because I was kind of without my laptop for a minute, but glad we got it back. We got my green screen working. Trying to see what background I'm gonna go with. I got the 88s in the background, and pretty interesting look, I think.
Yeah, looks pretty cool. And we wasn't even gonna go live tonight, but because it's so late, but we decided to just go ahead and go live anyway. So, yeah, you were telling me what you wanted to discuss. So, what's been going on? What have you been hearing, and what did you want to take a look at?
So probably what we just kind of talk about tonight is kind of like the Joe Milton thing, and then we'll do a Saturday Night Live tomorrow and just kind of go into more detail. But
Mm-hmm.
you started kind of scouting Joe Milton a few weeks back, and I sent you a clip today. I mean, was that yesterday? I sent you that, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe I want to try to see if you can pull that up. But kind of what do you think about that acquisition? I was kind of surprised, but it's definitely a
Keith
step
said
in a new
nice.
direction.
He liked the 88s.
Oh, okay. What's up, Uncle Keith?
Yeah,
He up kind of late in Mansfield.
yeah. That's why I told you somebody gonna hop on. But yeah, and we want you to hop on with us too. This is we. I want you to hop on with us at some point, like really soon, like tomorrow if you can. But anyways, yeah. So I was scouting Joe Milton, and I'm gonna just everybody what I told you. I feel like um, I felt like he was doing real good. He has, now his best game was the last game of the season last year for the Patriots. Um, I even forget who they played, but it was the last game. The starters wasn't in, and he had a real good game. Now he has like a cannon arm. Keystone is in the building.
What's up,
Uh,
Keystone?
so Mr. Sleeper Files is in the building. What up? What up? So
That's
yeah,
Keystone. Yeah.
Joe Milton, he has a cannon arm. He can really throw the rock. As far as backup purposes go, I'm okay with it. I'm cool with it. I like that. I like that addition. Um, sometimes, like I said, he'll have some good games, but then sometimes you just be like, what the heck was that? You know what I'm saying? So he's just a backup quarterback, and that's cool. You know what I mean? That's what we need. It's not no big deal. What scares me is that more often than not, we need backup quarterbacks. That gets hurt a lot. And so we need so with him, he kind of brings in that, what I'm saying, that sneaky factor to where it's just like, we might be, we might be able to continue to roll if he, has to play. But you know what I want to do? I want to draft a quarterback. I want to draft a quarterback with a, like not the not the first round pick, but me on my drafts that I'm doing. I don't know if it's realistic or not, but I'm trading back like in the second round, or I'm trading back in the first or second round, and I'm picking up an extra pick. And with that extra pick, I'm drafting a quarterback, and that's just what I have been doing. And depending on how um he said Keystone said Joe will be fine, but we need his mechanics tightened up. Yeah, that's exactly what I think too. He'll be good, you know what I mean? But I still want them to draft a quarterback for the future. That's what I want. I would like for them to like shock the world and like draft Jalen Milroe in the second round. That would be like awesome to me. Like if they was to trade back in the second round and pick up an extra three or pick up an extra two or something. Pay, trade back in the first round to pick up an extra pick, and then throw a wild card out there like Jalen Milroe. To me, that would be like I would be ecstatic about that. But Joe Milton gonna be straight. I like what I seen with him. He's a decent backup quarterback. That's what I think. He's better than Trey Lance. He probably not better than what's his name from last year, but you know
Cooper Rush.
he probably not better than Cooper Rush just because Cooper Rush has so much chemistry with our team. But you're gonna be shocked. People gonna be shocked in the preseason and in the offseason because he's gonna be making plays and he's gonna be throwing the ball really far. That's like his claim to fame. It's like he can launch the ball like super
Yeah,
super duper
I
far.
saw that video. He threw it like 85 yards, and I don't even
Yeah,
think he really, stepped
yeah.
into it. He could probably throw it 90 yards or 95 based on that throw. But
He can. I'm with Keystone. I'm with you on that, Keystone. I want a quarterback with accuracy and can move, but really, I want a quarterback that can move. Like the accuracy is cool, but that's obvious that you need that with a quarterback. But the being able to move part, I feel like the NFL is moving towards that because it's just like I think about Dak and how Dak came out when Dak was at Mississippi State. He wasn't the most accurate quarterback. You know what I mean? But he could move. That's really what got him where he's at is the fact that he could move real good. And then when he got into the league, you know, with his what's the quarterback coach name that's in Waxahachie that was down here in Waxahachie?
uh,
Uh,
I
you
can't
know,
think of his
when
name.
he
Yeah,
got with him,
John Kidner.
yeah, when he got with John Kidner, his accuracy got better. He was with, Gary kind of helped him out a little bit, being a
We need
quarterback
to we
coach.
need to Google where John Kidner is these days. I know he kind of bounced around for a minute, but he's one of those Yoda quarterback coaches. By
Yeah.
the way, we also need to. I was so glad the Cowboys quarterback coaches got swapped out, the Scott
Uh-huh.
Tolzien and all that mess. But so we need to figure out who the quarterback coach is for the Cowboys now because that's going to be very important for him. But I think Dak is going to help him. Some of these veteran
Mhm.
quarterbacks when they got a young guy coming in, they don't really want to help the young guys. That's the way Brett Favre wouldn't help Aaron Rodgers. Tony Romo actually didn't. He kind of did Dak like that, and it was the other backup quarterback that was helping Dak. Tony Romo didn't want to help Dak, so I think Dak is gonna be cool with that. Just kind of
Mhm.
working with him. So it's gonna be. I really like the trade. I'm not worried about the accuracy part. He'll get that. I think is the most important part is we don't need somebody that's going to be back there like a sitting duck. And but now I will say this. Uh, he's probably going to have to you know learn the offense, and I'm not even really sure he's going to be the immediate backup quarterback. But we'll have to just kind of see how it plays out. But I mean, he's a big guy. No diddy. He's 6'5", uh, cannon arm. He's kind of looks like he's kind of hard to tackle. Is that the clip I sent you?
Well, this is just his highlight, fam. So everybody kind of just watch it while we talking about him. Go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
But yeah, I do like the movement. You see it right there. We just need somebody that can step to the right, step to the left. Kind of hard to tackle. And I don't remember him from Tennessee. So
Because he was the backup quarterback at Tennessee.
okay, so he didn't even start in college. That's
Mm-mm.
that's interesting.
I think it was like Drake May. I might say.
Um, I don't think it was Drake May. I'm
Who
not. We have
whoever
to look
who
at that. I
yeah
think
whoever
they're. I can't remember who their quarterback was. Their quarterback that they had, he was a
Hendon
Heisman
Hooker.
Trophy. Yeah, he was a Heisman Trophy candidate for a minute.
Hendon Hooker.
And I don't even know Hendon Hooker what he did in the league. I'm sure he's playing somewhere. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's. I just like the move. It just shows you that they trying to do something. And the thing that I think was most impressive is he really wanted to come here. From what we understand, he actually talked to the Patriots about being traded to Dallas. He said his family, they're Cowboy fans. So
Mm-hmm.
that's like really important for us. We need to get back to where players want to come and play here. We kind of got away from that for a
Mm-hmm.
few years. We need to go back to this needs to be a spot where players want to play, and I think Shotty's gonna help with that. And
Mm,
we'll probably talk about it tomorrow. But training camp, we
mm,
call it the Underwear Olympics. It's some guys I don't want to see them in training camp at all. I can tell you right now, I do not want to see Mingo, Tober. I don't want to hear anything about what they're doing. Um, but training camp is going to be fun to watch guys like Milton and the rookies, of course. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, some of the veterans, I just I don't want to hear what they're doing in training camp. I don't even want to hear what they're doing in preseason. These are the kind of guys that we're going to be watching to just kind of see what they have.
Uncle Squeaky said John Kidney is coaching high school and football in Ohio.
Oh man, he moved back to Ohio or moved to Ohio. Okay.
hmm So, speaking about Shotty, you know, everybody's gonna be really impressed with Shotty. Because the way his vernacular, the way he talks, the way he presents himself, his knowledge of football because of his dad. Man, I swear, I kept saying, and my dad's my witness. The first time I seen Shotty, the first time, like the very first time I seen him and I heard him speak, the first time. This might have been when he got hired. Might have been like maybe it was when Mike McCarthy got hired. I don't
Make
know.
sure don't run that video too long. I don't know what the rules are.
Yeah.
Uh,
But yeah, so with Shotty, I asked my dad, who is this guy? Because he sounds like he ready to be the next coach or something. Who is this guy? That's what exactly my exact words. And so, you know what I'm saying? So that's the impression that I get from Shotty. But I'm just gonna say this. What we seeing right now is a good baseline for the future. Okay. So, like, how, like, for instance, the Cowboys, they never go all in, they never spend big in free agency, they never do any of that. So, for us to see, they never pay their players ahead of time, you know. Um, they never do those type of things. So what we're seeing now is, in my opinion, is with them going out of the norm and hiring Shotty, because even though it was a normal pick, a normal head coaching search, they really did. They interviewed some people, but we all knew once we heard the names, we thought it was gonna be Kellen or Shotty, and so, you know, um, with them hiring Shotty, I'm gonna get to my point. With them hiring, I'm gonna land my plane, as they would say. With them hiring Shotty, they're doing the baseline of things that you want to do as a franchise, as far as like filling holes with free agents. They didn't go all the way in and get the top free agent on the list, or any, a top free agent this, top free agent that. But what they did was they literally said, okay, what are the holes that we need to fill? And let's nickel and dime and get some average to get some average players that can come in and fill these roles. The two running backs that we got, they average, they below average. The linebacker that we got, he's by average, or a little bit above average. The defensive tackles that we got, he's pretty good. He's okay. He's not the best, but he's not the worst either. He's going to be good on our team. And so, with these picks that we got, and we still haven't got wide receiver, but they're mentioning to the fans that, yo, we need wide receiver. We want a second wide receiver. That they've said that. So this kind of lets us know that they're going into the draft with the idea of drafting best player available, and that's probably what we're going to see. But I think that you're going to see some different things out of them. I think you're going to see that Shotty understands how to read defenses, and he understands how to attack teams. Mike McCarthy didn't do that to me. To me, Mike McCarthy just said, okay, these are our plays, and this is how we're going to play. Like, we're running the same. Like, for instance, Mike McCarthy, to me, like, he had Brandon Cook running slants. So, you know what I mean? Or running digs and running comeback routes. And so Brandon Cooks even made a comment after the season and said they didn't even use me right.
yep.
So what that tells me, and in my opinion, what that says is that, okay, I have a play right here, and in my playbook, the X runs this, the Y runs this, the slot runs this, And this is what the quarterback do. And the quarterback should be throwing to this person first, this person second, this person third. Now, whoever is in them positions, it don't matter. So, like for instance, if CD is in the X and it's a fly, then Mike McCarthy didn't say, okay, well, Brandon Cooks, you should be running the fly, or he should say, or Mike McCarthy didn't do this. This team has a
He,
weak
he was he was
secondary.
ki- he was kind of checked out.
Yeah, he was kind of checked out. He didn't. To me, he wasn't like this team has a weak secondary, so Dak is gonna attack the air the whole game. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. It was just like I always remember that game. It was Bill Belichick versus somebody, but anyways, it was freezing cold, and the wind was like historic wind, and he didn't throw the ball at all during the game at all.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like he didn't throw the ball at all. Like he ran the ball the whole game. Every single play was a run. Like to me, that's crazy. That's crazy good coaching. It's just like you exploited a weakness of the other team and made it work for you, even though it's just like we got all these backs, we finna just shuffle you all in. And so it's just like I feel like Shoddy is gonna be a better game planner and come up with a plan of attack. And I feel like our offensive coordinator, the guy from the Cardinals, I feel like he gonna fit that. I feel like that's why Shotty got him is because the Cardinals had a good running attack, and so it's
and
gonna be balanced.
with Clayton
Shotty,
Adams.
Clayton Adams. I feel like Shotty gonna be running the air, and Clayton Adams gonna be running the run. And I feel like they're gonna address what the things that they need to address in the draft. I feel like they're gonna get a lineman in the draft. He's not gonna be the
Mm.
first or second pick, but I feel like unless the board fall that way. But I feel like they are going to get a running back in the first round or the second
Yeah, they,
round.
they they need to double dip on running back. Um,
I think they go. I
y-
think it's a very high possibility Travion Henderson or Quinshawn Judkins gets that call.
yeah. So the one thing I kind of say, I'm a OG, and so we're gonna our show is third generation, fourth generation. You're fourth, I'm third generation Cowboys too. So we talk about the underwear Olympics. They have underwear Olympics for coaches too. So I
Yeah.
was telling you that everything sounds good. On April 5th, all these coaches. I think McCarthy sounded the same way. So
Yeah.
I'm encouraged by what we're hearing from Shadi. I think, like I said before, if you had told me 10 years ago, if I could have chosen between Jason Garrett and Shadi, I would have chose Shadi every day of the week and twice on Sunday because he just has that pedigree, that background. I mentioned to you back in the day in the '90s, the NFC was dominant, especially the
Hmm.
NFC East with the dominant defensive and offensive lines.
Hmm.
The AFC, they were more like a finesse lead. They didn't win it. The AFC went like 24, 25 years in a row without winning the Super Bowl. The NFC won like 25 straight. That's
Yeah.
a fact. And but the only AFC teams that played that kind of football, like the Cowboys, the Giants, and the Redskins at the time, the Packers came later, was the Cleveland Browns and the Kansas City Chiefs, coached by Marty Schottenheimer. So they played that physical NFC brand of football. So, he has that in his background. He knows what to do. So now he just kind of got to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. And it's going to be interesting too, when he calls plays for the first few games. Just that's going to be interesting to watch. And so that's when the rubber's going to meet the road and we're going to kind of see. But we're going to give him time too. We're not going to
Hmm.
know what we're working with after the first few weeks. We got to give him some time. Now, you got to win games, but we're just gonna
Yeah.
kind of see how it goes. So the people that's coming in, give them a shout out.
Shout out to Shanna. Shout out to Uncle Keith. Shout out to Keystone. Shout out to everybody that's coming in and supporting. We appreciate y'all. Now, look, he said that I believe Shotty will open up the offense more than Mike McCarthy. Of course, I think so too. But also, this is what now that just adds to my next segue to my next point. My next point was going to be that you got to remember that Dak and Shotty are the reason why Shotty got this job because Dak was the one that wanted Shotty. You know what I mean? And we got to also remember that last year, Dak and Shotty and CD were telling Mike McCarthy that they wanted to open up the offense more. And Mike McCarthy push back.
Add some more plays.
They want to add some more plays. CD said they want to add they want to add plays that they see other teams doing that's successful, that they know that they can be successful with as well. They wanted to add that. And so people forgetting CD was very vocal last year. When they was losing, when
But
people.
then Dak was too.
And Dak, I'm about to say, and Dak was too. You know, they wasn't hiding anything. Dak was on the sideline. He said we effing suck. He was talking to somebody, I forgot. But it wasn't like they wasn't, they was clearly not on the same page with McCarthy. So
No.
this wasn't no this is so but what I'm saying is that Dak and Shadi are gonna run the offense. And CD too. That's what I think.
And,
I think
yeah, and
Dak,
I
I
think they're gonna
think
get a lot of input from Clayton Adams and
mhm.
the coach from K State. I gotta look up all of these people's names because we kind of losing track of who's what. But the offensive line coach from K State, Clayton
Mhm.
Adams, they're gonna work on the offense together. But yeah, Shotty's gonna have probably the final say in what they're doing.
And I think that that's gonna work. I think that Dak and Shot is gonna work. My only worry is that Dak get hurt. That's my only worry. It's because it's just reminiscent of Tony Romo's last year's. You know, the same exact thing happened with Tony Romo. In his ninth year, he had a season-ending injury, and then the next year in the preseason, he fractures his tailbone. But they drafted Zeke to partner with him. Just like I feel like we gonna draft a receiver and a running back to relieve Dak, and Dak, I just feel like that's what we doing it all over again. So we don't have a Dak on our roster right now, and I don't think it's Joe Milton. That's why I want them to get a backup quarterback that's really good. You know, um, that we can take to the next level, go to the next level with, just in case. Um, I really hope they find one, because it's really like, this is not that deep of a quarterback uh draft, but you got people like Quinn Ewers, Riley Leonard, they're gonna be out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So maybe if you get one of them, maybe you have
So
a upside factor.
Connor Riley is the offensive line coach from
Connor Riley,
K
yeah,
State. I,
K
I
State.
I really think, and like I said, one of the things that's fun about our show, we don't 100% agree on everything, which is kind of the fun part, the third and fourth generation. So you really like Jalen Milrow. You like him,
Yeah.
more than I do. I think that's off the table. I also think with them bringing in Joe Milton, I just don't see them drafting a quarterback. I know I had a couple of other content creators. I was actually listening to one tonight. He said the same thing you said, that he was one of the content creator OGs. He said he would still try to draft a quarterback. I don't think they will.
But
But
see, but my pushback on that is, well, them trading for Joe Milton was the equivalent of them adding them running backs. It ain't really nothing. It's really
mm,
like, you know what
I
I
think
mean?
it
Like,
I think it's a better situation than the running backs.
well, I mean, they about the same. They about the same. If they they only right now they only gonna see the field if the starters get hurt.
Yeah, I just think that I think Joe Milton, from like an investment standpoint, I just think he has the tools and the talent. He just needs the coaching. But I mean, I think he's somebody that, look, I think it was a good signing. I think it was more than just bringing in a guy, and I think he's gonna look. I will say this: if I mentioned this before, the backup quarterback, people will say, well, if Dak gets hurt, your season is over. But what I keep saying is, what if Dak just misses 4 games? What if he misses 5 games? We just need somebody that can go in and do what Cooper Rush did. Cooper Rush was very effective. I think Cooper Rush was probably like, what was he like, 10-2? He had a hell of a record.
Yeah, he
We
did.
just we just need somebody to do that. But this guy is just has more talent, and
Hmm.
so
Yeah,
we'll
this is true.
we'll see. But yeah, I think I really like the signing.
Yeah, me too. I like him. Miles said he watching on Facebook.
Okay, what's
Uh,
up, Miles?
So, yeah, I like the signing, but like I said, that would not deter me from taking, like me, I struggle with the BPA, taking the best player available, and then picking players that I want. You know, I usually go BPA in the first round, and then I after that I go get who I want. And
Oh, and
so,
I was trying to Will Greer. I
hmm
mean, don't count him out as being the backup, and I think he'll be effective. I mean, I really when the competition was between Will Greer and Cooper Rush, I actually thought Will Greer was going to win that,
me
and
too.
he was highly touted coming out of high school. So
hmm
look, yeah, Joe Milton's going to have to compete with him initially for the backup quarterback, and I think Will Greer could win some games too. And he's mobile. He's not somebody also that's going to just stand back there.
hmm
And he's the same way. He's going to put the ball in some bad places.
hmm
He's probably more accurate than Joe Milton at this point, but he's been around the league. This is probably his fifth or sixth year. So I think I like our backup quarterback situation in case something does happen with that.
Yeah, me too. I just want to draft for the future while we drafting this high, and we can use it to our benefit. Because you drafting this
Yeah.
high, you can trade back in some scenarios,
I think
and
your guy, I think Jalen Milrow,
hmm
I believe he's going to sneak into the first round or the very top of the second round. So I just don't think realistically the Dallas is gonna pull the trigger because we just have so many needs. Like I told you, if they had an extra third or extra two,
hmm
I would be down with that. And shout out to Vach. That's exactly what he said on his show tonight. That if he had a shot to take Jalen Milrow, he would do it. But I think Jalen Milrow I think it's gonna be some prizes on draft day. He
hmm
might be one. I think somebody's gonna move up and take him
hmm
because
the
he
Steelers,
or the Raiders. The
the
Steelers are
Raiders,
the Steelers are a rumor.
the Giants.
The Giants at the top of the second round. You just
hmm
see where they drafting, but look, somebody
I mean, they're gonna be dangerous if they take whoever they get with their top five pick, and then they turn back around. If they take Jalen Milrow, they gonna be dangerous. Just think,
now I'm hearing today. I've been hearing in the last couple of days that the Giants are maybe circling back to Shador.
oh my god, that's gonna be dangerous too. That's gonna be dangerous if they do
And
that.
see, that's the difference between me and you on our generation of Cowboy fandom. You when you see those teams like the Commanders and the Eagles and the Giants, that competition, it kind of has you kind of like, man, you don't. But me, I'm old school NFC East. That's the way it was
Mhm.
back in the day. So I just say, bring it on. We gonna build our team, and let's just play.
Well, I'm just so used to beating them, but
Yeah.
the
Well,
thing, I'm just so used to beating them at all times. But because Dak is like, he like I don't know, he got an astronomical record in the NFC East. But the thing is, it's just like we been for so long been needing that little extra piece to get over the hump, and it seemed like every year we miss whatever it is to get over the hump and win that first, second game of the playoff. And now these other teams in the NFC East keep on being bad, getting high picks, and rebuilding and
no,
passing us.
but that's old school NFC East, and also keep in mind that if the Commanders and the Eagles and the Giants just keep putting good teams together, that's gonna force Steve and Jerry and Will McClay to step their game up.
And see another thing too. Uh, Keith said Shador was workout was okay. Another thing today, another thing that I've been looking at too is that the Cowboys, Will McClay, Steven and Jerry, they need to stop building our teams to beat the NFC East. That's what they do. I feel like they build our teams to beat the NFC East. If the NFC East, I mean, if the Giants or the Eagles get a top receiver, they go get a top corner. Where if the Giants get a
Yeah.
get a top running back, they go get a top defensive tackle. It's just like
Yeah.
they try to
And,
they try
and
to
and
do that.
nobody does that. That's why you don't have any NFC Championship
It
games in
is. It
30 years.
is.
And Brian Broaddus has said that too, by the way. Shout out to Broaddus. But yeah, that's
That's what they
nobody
do.
does that.
And that's
You
and
know,
that's why they can beat that's why they beat 10-2 in the division and lose in the first round.
and you know what? I'm gonna push back on all of that because the Cowboys they do things so just goofy that people have to come up with all these theories on what they're doing. Like we're trying to build our team to beat the NFC East just because you don't have nothing else to hang your hat on. But
That's what they do.
that's dumb.
It is dumb, but that's what they do.
Yeah,
I mean, they got to get away from that. They got to just take the best player available and build their team to beat other
because
teams.
that's exactly what the Eagles are doing. The Eagles just building a football team. Front
Right.
they building a Death Star is what I call it.
It's just like this. Why? How come? Like it makes no sense that all these other teams with our makeup run the Shanahan offense to perfection, and we don't. That's
Well,
crazy to me. When you see the league going in a certain direction, and
but
you
you
got
gotta
CDs, you got guys like CD, you got guys like uh Dak, you got
well,
guys, and they can
you
do that
got
better than them. Seems
but
like
you
we're
gotta
getting left
remember
behind while the
too.
rest of our conferences in the future. Miles said, "Seems like we're getting left behind while the rest of our conference is in the future."
Yeah, they building the teams the right way. What the
Mm-hmm.
Eagles are doing, they're doing the same thing that the Ravens do, the
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs do, the 49ers do, and the Giants and the Commanders are going to catch up. But um, that's kind of been our downfall. They don't have a even with the offense. What I was gonna say is the West Coast offense.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a really dominant way to run your offense. It works, but you also got other people like the coach that Detroit hired. His name escapes me. What's his name? They just hired him
Ben,
from Ben Johnson.
yeah,
He wasn't running the West Coast offense, but his offense was good.
yeah.
And we saw a little bit of that with the Commanders last year with Cliff Kingsbury. So, but yeah, that offense is
Mm-hmm.
is a great way to go. But also, you can do your thing, and then keep in mind, Brian Schottenheimer, Shotty,
Mm-hmm.
and McCarthy. They were just running their version of that offense. They were not
Correct.
running the same offense. So,
Yeah, but what they did was they were running their version of that offense, but they took the key elements that make it work out, like the
well,
motion and
well,
like
they did.
the
What I would say is well, I would say they. It's not actually they. It was McCarthy. What
Mhm,
McCarthy did we just took the bare bones of the offense and used that. He didn't really want to innovate and update it, which is what Schottenheimer wanted to do. That's what McVay has done. O'Connell with the Vikings, but you
mhm.
see your guy down in Miami that everybody likes that I don't really like. Uh, I call him Professor X or whatever.
Uh, uh,
Uh,
Mike McDonald,
Mike McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel.
But yeah, so McCarthy, no, he
He's a
was.
genius.
So if it was a Ford car,
Mhm.
McCarthy was running the what was the car that Lauren had?
The
It,
Ford
it was
Focus.
it was a Ford Focus. So McCarthy had the Ford Focus version of the West Coast offense. These other guys are running the Mustang version,
The 5.0s,
the
the Mustang.
5.0, the uh,
Mhm.
the Camaro Z28.
It's a
All of those are
Chevy.
Ford.
That's a
All of those are
Chevy.
Ford. That's a Chevy, but
No, yes, a Chevy. Yeah.
it's all the GM car, But
Right.
that's what McCarthy was doing. But so now Brian Schottenheimer,
Mhm.
we're gonna have to just kind of see, is he gonna be like his Ben Johnson guy? Is he gonna do a little bit of the McVay, a little bit of O'Connell? So that's the thing that we're gonna have to kind of figure out.
Yeah, and I think that, like I said, man, these young guys like Micah, these young guys like CD, that's who runs the league now. That's who determines what your offense is gonna be doing. So like Dak is super smart. So he might not be like the as far as like talent wise, like Dak can't run a
Well,
fofo or nothing like that.
well,
You know
Dak
what
should
I'm
be
saying?
where Romo was at the tail end of his career,
He is,
where
and
Romo had just mastered the game.
he is there. And the thing about it is, but see, my only problem is that it don't be Dak. it be other problems that we be having. They be getting Dak. Like for instance, like Dak is at that level, but but if Tyler Guyton is getting smoked,
Yeah,
then it's gonna make Dak look bad. Or Dak could be at that level, but if Brandon is running slants and he can't get open and he ain't get no
yeah.
separation, then it's gonna Dak can't get up out the pocket like he used to.
If
So
you
it's
don't
like
have no running game,
if you don't have no running game, then just remember that game when we played Detroit. It's just like, okay, guys, on that first drive when they went down and crammed it down our throats, and McCarthy kept on deferring, which was just like, why are you
yeah.
doing this? And
Well, the
that
thing
our
about the
offense,
the thing about the Detroit game that was so alarming is we had an entire year to prepare for that game. We knew what they were going to come in and do
not
because of
this
what
year.
it
I'm
had.
talking about last year,
You talking about the last year, this past season?
the one before that.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah,
So the one
yeah,
before that, so 2 years ago when we played Detroit. So at the beginning of the game, we went down 7-0. They went down and scored in like 2 plays, 3 plays. McCarthy kept deferring when we know that he shouldn't have been doing that. So, anyways, but and then on our first play, Dak got smoked, and then like again he got smoked again, and it was like 3rd and 20. We was like on the 2 yard line, remember? and and like we needed everybody to somebody to get us out of this. And Dak threw a bomb to CD. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? And he scored.
Now
And
in
then
that game, the one you're talking about, we really dominated them. We had that game put away. I
we
was talking
did.
about last year's game.
No, the reason why I was talking about the game when we dominated them is I was talking about all cylinders. CD when the receivers was playing good, Jake Ferguson was playing good, Tony
Yeah,
Pollard was playing good, the line was playing good, everybody was playing good, and we dominated. And that's how pretty much how we did that whole season. That's why it was such a catastrophic blow when we lost to Green Bay, because we just knew we was gonna dominate them. Because we had been dominating everybody all season. Nobody could stop CD and Dak. It just was not happening. And the moment that you try to double CD, Tony Pollard will hit you for 90 yards. So it's just like, you know, um, Dak needs everything in order to look good. When
yeah,
everybody else look good, he gonna look good.
yeah,
And then he might have, I give him like, 20%, 15% of the season where he just make bonehead the plays where he be like deer in the headlights. But
yeah.
that's not all the time.
And
It's just
Mahomes
like
has games like that,
all
but
quarterbacks do
he has a defense that
can
keeps
step
him
up.
keeps him afloat. So that's what Dak did. Dak needs a defense that can hold a fort, and he
But
needs
see,
a couple of more receivers. He needs
this is
I
my
think he needs another
question.
tight end as well.
This is my question. How come it's taking them this long to understand that the focus should be on offense?
I mean,
Why they just now talking about they need a receiver and a running back? Because like for the last 4 or 5 years, they have been building the defense. So there was an article that came out today where it said the top 5 best drafting teams on offense and the top 5 best drafting teams on defense and the worst 5 on offense and defense. Where you think the Cowboys was?
but they were in both. I don't know.
Uh, for offense, were they in the top 5 best draft for the last? We talking about first round draft picks. Were they in the top 5 for best draft or low 5 on offense?
What did it say?
They was in the top 5 on both. They was number 1 on defense. With our first round picks for the last 4 or 5 years, we number 1 with Micah, Mozzie, and who else was our number one defense?
And number one in terms of what? How many picks they've invested, or the way the players are playing?
The way the players are playing. Who has the best? Who has the
Well,
best
Mozzie
draft?
wouldn't be on there.
Yeah, he was.
Man, I don't
Well,
know.
well, he was he was in the years. So they did like the last 5 years. So they just did the last 5 years. They did the defensive players for the last 5 years in the first round, and they just compared it to every other team. And so when
But
you
see,
compare
yeah,
Mozzie and Micah and whoever else to the rest of the other teams, then it was Mozzie and Micah. I guess because Micah put him over the top so much, just like how on offense we was number 3 best draft because CD put everybody over the top so much. So I'm
yeah.
saying, but the
I think
Bengals was
I
number
see
1.
someone posted Tyler Smith. Who is that
Yeah, Tyler Smith.
in the
Uh,
chat?
oh, Miles.
Oh, hey, Miles. Yeah. So yeah,
So they was in the offense. So
if you just
Tyler
look at
Smith.
some of
Mm-hmm.
the players that we drafted, I agree with that. You got Micah, you got Tyler Smith.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that
Like Tyler Smith. That we was number 3. The Bengals was number 1. We was tied number 2. We was tied for the second and third slot.
what's that shadow on the bottom and right of the screen, or is that me?
Shadow on the bottom right of the screen. That's you. I don't see nothing.
Okay, but
But
yeah.
yeah, it was like yeah, that's what it was. It was like Tyler Smith, CD. They're all pros. So you know, what the Cowboys need to just do is they need to just draft good for the whole entire draft. Because after the first round, it's like they get lost, and they
Yeah.
got lost last year. They got lost with Mozzie. So you know, it just is what it is. I feel like I feel like Shoddy is gonna turn over helping them turn over a new leaf. I think that they are embarrassed. I think that they really want to change up some things and do some things right. That's what I think. I think they want to do some things different.
So there's some rumors that they still are going to try to make a move for another receiver, and the names that I was hearing was it Traylon Burks,
Yep.
which I don't like. We heard Calvin Ridley,
Mm-hmm.
of course your guy, Tyreek Hill,
Mm-hmm.
and then you like Tyreek Hill and Cortland Sutton.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you're more high on Sutton than I am.
And the reason why I like these guys is because I play fantasy every year, and Cortland Sutton was one of the main reasons why I won my fantasy this year, and Tyreek Hill was the main reason that I got second place last year. They balled out. Cortland Sutton was my second wide receiver, and I won the whole thing because of him, because he was putting up numbers every week. Every week, I
Yeah.
guarantee.
So
Every week he
if
scored a
you
touchdown.
so Kevin, if I had a choice,
Miles,
oh that's Miles. Miles, if I had a choice, I would rather have Ted than Cortland Sutton.
but but that's you can't you can't compare those two people.
I'm not comparing them.
Well, you wouldn't trading for Cortland Sutton shouldn't remove you from drafting Ted.
Oh, if like I said earlier, if they trade for Cortland Sutton, they are not taking a receiver. If they I don't
I
think they're
don't
gonna
know
go
why.
draft a quarterback because that's what Dallas does. They're just not.
Yeah. Well, no. If you ask me who is the best, oh, did the computer die? I think the computer died. That's what happened. So uh if you ask me who was better out of the Ted and Cortland Sutton, I would say Cortland Sutton is better, but I would rather have Ted for the long run because Ted is uh for the long run. So I would rather have Ted, but I would rather have them both. I would rather just trade for sign Cortland Sutton and then trade for Ted. I mean, and then draft Ted or any other wide receiver that's up in the top. Luther Burden, Egbuka, uh, and still trade for Cortland Sutton or Tyreek. If we had Tyreek Hill and Ted, that would be amazing. We would have the best wide receiver tandem in the league. If they got any of the top 5 receivers, Egbuka, Luther, Ted, even Jalen Royals and all of them. If we had them plus like Cortland Sutton or Tyreek or I don't know about Calvin Ridley, but one of them, we would still be like cooking with hot grease. Like they would be straight. So we probably been on for like 45 minutes. I know what happened. The computer died. So my dad, he clocked out. So I'm gonna wrap up and we're gonna be on tomorrow live. We wasn't even gonna go live today, but we decided to go live even though it was late. So we appreciate everybody for logging on. All my family, all my friends, I see y'all out there. Shout out to you, Miles. Shout out to my Uncle Squeak. Shout out to Keystone. Shout out to Shanna. Everybody that logged in. We appreciate y'all. We getting ready and we ramping up because we just been getting in the flow of things and getting the YouTube game down. But I'm about to start putting out like edited videos and different kind of projects on our channel and We about to get everything going. We live on Twitch right now. We live on uh uh Twitter. We live on well, we not live on Twitter. We live on Facebook, YouTube, and then my dad. All right. So you got back on your phone.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back on.
No, you on right now, so you good. I was wrapping up, but the laptop died, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that shadow was. So, but anyways, yeah. So we're live on YouTube. We live on Facebook. We live on TikTok. So, yeah, we're gonna be putting out a lot of more things and and we're gonna be doing also we're gonna be doing videos with people as well. Well, like I can't see you. The laptop is blocking you. You hear
Okay,
me?
well, yeah, I can hear you. Well, I think it's
So
just my
yeah.
phone. I got to figure out how to get it back on, but we're good. You can hear me. We can go ahead and wrap.
Okay.
You
So yeah.
thanking people
So
for joining?
yeah, I did. And so I did. And then we got we're gonna be doing like a like round table discussions too, where we bring people on that like we gonna post a link in the chat. And so Miles, y'all will be able to get on Keystone, y'all will be able to get on with us and discuss and talk about this stuff. As the draft come, we got 20 days to the draft, y'all. So we gonna do a live stream on draft night too. It's probably when we do a round table where we can all be on here and we can do our reactions because it's gonna be a long night that night because it's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna be either happy or upset with the picks that they make. So I
So you
think it's
can
gonna
see
be
me now.
interesting. Yeah, we will see you the whole time.
Okay, but so tomorrow we need to figure out what time we're gonna go live. Cause I gotta. Do we know what time Houston is playing?
Uh,
Let me look at
let's
the schedule.
see. Let me see. Anybody know
Cause
what time Houston playing? Put it in chat. I hate the Bleacher Report update. It's just they just ruin the application, the app. It's just so messed up. Let's see. Houston plays tomorrow
we just need to know the
at
time.
oh my god. Let me see. Let's see. NCAA. Boy, this is crazy. NCAA. I I don't know what's going on.
Houston is playing the late game.
So
That's gonna be the best game. So we're gonna have to go live before Houston plays. And I don't know if this is Central Time. It probably is. So
So they play at 7:49 tomorrow. And let me see, that's central. I don't it doesn't say Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, it says all time zone are in central. So they play tomorrow at 7:49. So we're gonna have
so
to go
we need to do like 6:30 to 7:30.
all right, that's cool. So we'll be on from 6:30 to 7:30 tomorrow and kind of go over whatever news we got and we kind of go over the final four games in Florida and Auburn and getting ready for Houston versus Duke. Everybody know we pulling for Houston. Uh
I think
so
Texas Tech was the
better team.
yeah, I think they could have won the whole thing. Of course, Duke was going to be a tough out either way, but I think uh, Texas Tech could have beat them. Houston, they're going to have to play the best game they played all year. Now defensively, they play good defense, but I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up with Duke scoring wise. I mean, it's possible. We'll see.
Mhm.
But I really hated Texas Tech. Charles Barkley was like, when Texas Tech lost, he was so disappointed because he knew, they really had a good chance to win it. And
They did,
they,
man. They did,
yeah,
and I just, when that dude hit that first three, all right, I changed the game. I ain't
yeah,
want to watch
then
no
they let
more.
him hit four in a row.
Yeah, when he hit the first one, I was like, oh no, I seen it all over their faces, and I changed it after that. I started doing something else. I ain't even go check and
The
see.
coach should have adjusted defense and he should have called timeout.
Yep,
Well, and just kind of stopped the run. But that's kind of
how
and
this go?
that's like the if I'm not mistaken, this is Texas Tech's third time like being right there.
Yeah.
And so they got a good program. So we like to see all of the Texas teams.
Mm-hmm.
We pull for all of the Texas teams when they in the
Except the
the
Rockets. No. We pull for the Rockets if they win it all, but we don't accept the Astros.
Yeah, we're not big Astros fans, but yeah, it's I'd rather see the Astros win it than like the Yankees.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. But I like
hmm
all of the Texas teams. Even though they are rivals in our conferences, like the Spurs, I like the Spurs and the Rockets. Now when they playing against the Mavericks, I don't. But if they
hmm
playing against somebody else, I'm rooting for them. But yeah. So we'll see y'all on the next one tomorrow. We're gonna be on from 6:30, 7:30 Central. So we'll see y'all. And like I said, any news that breaks, we're gonna be monitoring the news. Michael still ain't signed. He
Yeah,
won't
we'll
be
talk about
signed until
tomorrow. We can talk about some of the stuff with the contracts and stuff like that.
yeah, we'll talk about the contracts tomorrow. We'll talk about the contracts and what's going on and what we can expect. Tyler Smith contract, Deron Bland,
Do a mock draft.
mock draft, and all of that. So we'll see y'all on the next one. Y'all be safe tonight.